Predator ships trapped the aliens, then one human broke the circle. HFY Sci-Fi story asterisk. The stars looked calm, silent, beautiful, but inside the Viren convoy, nothing felt safe. Captain Alia pressed her leaf-like fingers to the glass panel of her control room. Her green skin shimmered softly, the sign of rising stress. Around her, the crew of the main ship, Hope Root, moved quietly, checking systems, scanning space. They were not warriors, were farmers, builders, teachers, refugees. They had fled their dying sun weeks ago. Their planet Vera was lost, burned by solar storms. The last survivors now floated in deep space, hoping to find safety in the neutral corridor known only by rumors. It was said to be unguarded, quiet, ignored by the galaxy's powerful empires, just a stretch of forgotten space, chance to survive. But something was wrong. "Captain," whispered the sensor chief, his vines tightening around the panel. "Ship just appeared off our port side. No signal, no ID." Alia turned. "Ship no, now 2, 3, 6. One by one. Massive shadows blinked into view on the edge of the screen. Warships, black, long, covered in sharp blades like the teeth of old beasts. The name came quickly, whispered by everyone on the bridge at once. Korak. The Korak Syndicate. Were raiders, pirates, killers. They hunted weak ships, took everything, left no one alive. And now they were here. In the forgotten corridor, Alia stood frozen, heart thudding in her chest. Open communication channels, all of them. Try to hail. Before she finished, a deep, crackling voice filled the bridge. "This is Warbringer Torg of the Korak Syndicate. You have entered our feeding ground. There will be no escape. We have no weapons. We are just transports." "I know," Alia said. Her hands shook. "Try to run. Scatter. Maybe some of us will wait." The sensor chief interrupted. "A signal on, a strange frequency, from behind us. Everyone, turn to the rear sensors." Single dot appeared, small, fast, coming toward them. "Another Korak?" someone asked. "No," the chief said slowly. "Not Korak. Unknown vessel. It's human." Alia frowned. "Human," another voice filled the bridge. Calm, confident. "This is Commander Rail of the ESS Shadow Knife. I suggest you don't fire while I'm talking." The Viren crew stared in disbelief. One human ship against a Korak war fleet? "Must be a mistake," Va muttered. "They can't help us." But outside, the Shadow Knife moved fast. Its black surface almost disappeared into space. It had no glowing engines, no bright lights. It was silent, smooth, like a shadow slicing the stars. The Korak ships didn't wait. A blast of energy fired from the closest warship aimed at the human vessel, but before the beam even finished, the Korak ship exploded. The Viren gasped. Alia's leaves trembled. What just happened?" "No impact," said the sensor chief, stunned. "No return fire. The human ship didn't shoot, but the Korak ship, it imploded. Systems failed all at once. Another Korak ship turned its guns toward the Shadow Knife, then froze. Its engines shut down. Lights flickered, then went dark. Dead. One by one, Korak ships began turning. Unsure, scanning wildly, the calm human voice returned. "You've been warned. This corridor is under Earth's protection." Va stepped beside Alia, eyes wide. "They're protecting us?" Why? Alia didn't know. She only knew one thing: that Korak had come to hunt. But something had changed. The hunters were afraid. "Captain." The sensor chief shouted, 2 more Korak ships firing at each other. "What?" They're confused. Their systems are reading false targets. They think the Shadow Knife is everywhere at once. Alia stared at the human ship on the screen. It moved like no other. It vanished, then appeared in a new spot, then vanished again, always calm, always in control. A message arrived, private, sent just to the VIR. It was from Commander Rail. "I'm not here to win a war. I'm here to send a message. Stay behind us, don't speak. Don't run, and don't blink." Outside space was chaos, and the Viren had no choice. They stayed and watched and waited. And as the shadow knife moved into the ring of Korak ships. Quiet and deadly, Alia whispered the only thing she could think. They're not just protecting us. She paused, her voice dry. They're hunting the hunters. And in that moment, every Viren on board knew this wasn't just survival. This was something the galaxy had never seen before. The twist came seconds later. Captain, the sensor chief gasped. One of the Korak ships is launching something. Small toward the human ship. It's not a missile. What is it? It's boarding them. The human ship didn't move. He stayed. Still? A trap? Or had they finally made a mistake? No one knew. Alia stared at the screen. Don't blink, she whispered. Ship, it didn't explode. It didn't open right away either. It just clung to the hull like a parasite waiting to bite inside the Viren bridge, silent, stretched. Captain Alia and her crew stared at the display, barely breathing. What are they doing? Va whispered. Why didn't the human ship move? I don't know, Alia said quietly. Maybe. They allowed it. Everyone waited. Then the pod split open with a hiss. Metal arms unfolded. 3 Korak warriors crawled out, their bodies covered in spiked armor, faces hidden behind red visors. They carried plasma blades burning white-hot. They're boarding. Someone said, horrified, they're inside. Alia tried to send a warning, but it was already too late. The Korak had entered the human vessel. Can we contact the humans? BA asked. We've been locked out, the sensor chief replied. All channels blocked. Another crew member whispered, they're gone. But just then, a new image appeared on the screen. The inside of the shadow knife. A hallway. Dark, empty, quiet. The 3 Korak moved cautiously, blades ready. The walls of the ship were smooth and black, without markings, doors, or lights. Nothing looked normal. There were no signs of life. Then, lights flickered. Not from above, but under the floor, red pulses. Like a heartbeat glowed beneath there. Feet, the Korak stopped. One turned blaster ready, then the hallway changed. The walls shifted, literally moved, like they were breathing. The warriors took a step back. Their blades flickered suddenly. A voice echoed all around them. Calm, human, but cold. You entered without permission, the Korak leader growled. Surrender your ship. No reply. Instead, a low humming began. A vibration through the walls. The Korak took defensive positions. A moment passed. Then the hallway vanished. The entire space twisted. The Korak found themselves falling upward, sideways, spinning through something that made no sense. Gravity was wrong. The lights were wrong. Their suits began to glitch, systems failing. One of them shouted. Their visors cracked. The air burned. They screamed, and then they were gone. Not dead. Not wounded. Just gone. The video feed cut. On the Viren bridge, everyone stared in shock. What did we just see? Va said. I don't know, Alia whispered. But I don't think the human ship is normal. Is it alive? Someone asked. Is it a weapon? A new message came through. From Commander Rail. Simple, cold, do not board uninvited. This is your last warning. The message was not sent to the VIR. It was broadcast to the Korak fleet. Alia looked at the tactical screen. 3 Korak ships had turned. They were backing away. They're retreating, Ba said. No, said the sensor chief. They're repositioning. New formation. They're getting ready to attack all at once. And he was right. The Korak weren't running. They were angry now, embarrassed. The rest of the fleet began to move, surrounding the human vessel from every direction. The shadow knife remained still. The music started. Again, low, strange, not from outside, from within the Viren ships. The human signal was broadcasting a rhythm, a deep, steady beat. It pulsed like thunder. Then came a voice singing, but not in words anyone understood. It was ancient, old Earth music. Battle songs. The Viren didn't understand it. But the Korak did. It made them hesitate. One by one, their ships paused. "Captain," said Va, looking at the screen. "They're afraid." Alia couldn't believe it. The Korak were some of the most feared hunters in the galaxy. They had killed entire colonies. They'd never feared anyone. Now they were second-guessing. "Commander, Rael is doing something," Alia said. "He's not fighting them. He's shaking them." More music echoed through space. The Korak warships lit up with alarms. The systems on their own ships were failing radars. "Navigation, targeting systems, we're picking up strange energy bursts," said the sensor chief. "Like interference. But surgical. Like they're being cut apart piece by piece." The human ship was still not moving, still not firing. But the Korak ships were now drifting, confused. Some spinning off course. Alia sat back in her chair. "One ship," she whispered. "One human ship." And something new appeared on the screen. The Korak command ship opened its bay doors. A massive cannon emerged, 10 times larger than any seen before. They weren't playing anymore. They're going to destroy the Shadow Knife. "One shot? It will be enough." Alia tried to send a message. "Commander Rael, they're preparing a super weapon." No answer. The Korak charged their cannon. Energy built up, glowing like a miniature star. Then the Shadow Knife vanished. Gone. No flash, no sound. Just disappeared. The Korak held their fire. Their scanners went wild. "He escaped," Va said. "They don't know where he is." But the Viren crew knew one thing: the hunt wasn't over. It had just begun. The Korak ships floated in silence. Their giant cannon, fully charged, held in place with no target to aim at. The human ship was gone, not destroyed, not damaged, just missing. Inside the Viren bridge, Captain Alia and her crew watched, speechless. "Where did it go?" Va asked, staring at the blank space where the Shadow Knife had been. "Did it cloak? Warp?" "No," said the sensor chief, voice trembling. "It's not just invisible. It's out of phase. Can't track it anywhere, not even on deep scans." Alia didn't speak. She could still feel it. The human ship was near, watching, waiting. She didn't know how, but she felt it in her bones. Then, one of the Korak ships turned sharply. Its hull twisted like it had been punched from inside. Flames burst from its rear engine. The ship spun wildly, crashing into another one beside it. Both went dark. The crew gasped. "They're being attacked," someone said. "But by what?" All knew the answer. The human ship had returned, not in the way anyone expected. Another Korak ship exploded, no warning, no weapon fired. Just internal systems failing in an instant, lights gone. Hull collapsing, then came a sound. A voice. "Commander Rael, this is Phantom Protocol." His voice echoed across every channel. Cold, calm, clear. "You built your ship strong, fast, but you forgot to protect the mind. Your ships are smart, too smart. That was your mistake." Inside the Korak ships, chaos spread. Alarms rang. Control panels blinked with unreadable code. Engines died. Weapons jammed. One by one, they began spinning out of formation. Alia and her crew stared in awe. "He's not firing missiles," Voss said. "He's hacking them." "Not just that," the sensor chief added. "He's rewriting them. Their ships don't know who to obey anymore." Then, a terrifying sight. 2 Korak ships turned their weapons on each other. One fired. The beam tore through its neighbor. A giant flash lit up the void. Metal pieces scattered across the stars. Alia stood up. "They're losing control of their fleet." Another message came through. This time, private. Only for the VIR. From Rael. "This is a message to every peaceful traveler in this corridor. Stay where you are. Do not interfere. Let them fall." Captain Alia's hands shook. "We can't just watch this. He's protecting us," Voss said softly. "He warned us not to move." On the screen, another Korak ship broke apart. Then a strange sound music. Not battle drums this time, but something slower, sadder. A melody. human music. The shadow knife appeared for only a second, just long enough to flash by the main Karak flagship. Leaving behind a burst of strange light, the flagship began to shake. Its shields dropped. Engines flickered, and then finally the Korak leader spoke. His voice was no longer angry, no longer proud. "This is Warbringer Torg. Cease attack, regroup, pull back." But his message came too late. 5 of his ships were already disabled. 3 more were drifting. 2 had exploded. And now his own ship was cracking. Suddenly, the human ship reappeared just behind the flagship. Close, too close. Its hull opened. Not for weapons, but for something else. A beam of pure light shot forward, not to destroy, but to send a signal. A code. One last command. The Korak flagship shut down completely. No power. No voice, just silence. Rael's voice filled the stars again. One ship was enough. And then the shadow knife turned away, slowly, not running. "Not afraid," finished Dodell. Exhaled. "He's not chasing them." "No," VA said. "He wanted to show them. That's all. Just show them." The remaining Korak ships gathered their wounded and vanished into hyperspace. Fleeing the corridor they once claimed, the Viren ships floated untouched. Not one of them had been hit. Alia opened communication. "Commander Rael. This is Captain Alia of the Viren vessel Hope Root. We owe you our lives." No reply. Just silence. Then a faint message blinked on her screen. "Stay safe. Earth watches the forgotten paths." And the shadow knife disappeared once more, gone like a shadow at sunrise. But every Viren knew what had happened. The humans were not just explorers. They were not just defenders. They were something else. Something the galaxy had never seen. Predators with a cause. Asterisk. The stars were quiet again. But Captain Alia knew silence could be dangerous. The Korak were gone for now. Their damaged ships had limped away. Their pride shattered. Their fleet broken. But they weren't defeated forever. The Viren convoy stayed in place, floating in the forgotten corridor. None dared to move. Not until they knew it was safe. Alia stood at the front of the bridge, looking out the wide glass panel. Her reflection shimmered against the stars. Behind her, VA was silent, arms crossed, deep in thought. "They'll come back," he finally said. "I know," Alia replied. "They won't fall for the same tricks twice." "No, they won't," she said. "Which is why we need to understand what just happened." The crew was already collecting every signal, every fragment of code from the fight. Even the damaged echoes of human music and the strange energy bursts were being stored. "We need to learn from the humans," Alia said. "Fast." But they didn't know where Commander Rael had gone. What? The shadow knife was nowhere on their scans. It was as if the ship had never existed, until it returned, without warning. The shadow knife appeared again, right outside their flagship. No engines, no sound. "Ow!" Just there, the Viren gasped. "Open a channel," Alia ordered. This time Rael's voice came through clearly, calm as before. "Permission to board?" Alia blinked. "You want to come here? You ask questions?" "I came to answer them." Alia paused only a second before replying. "Docking bay is open." The human stepped into the ship. He wore a black suit, smooth and plain, no weapons in sight. His eyes were sharp, tired but alert. Rael looked around the bridge. "Nice ship. Peaceful design, reminds me of something." Alia stepped forward. "Welcome aboard. I'm Captain Alia. Commander Rael, Earth Shadow Division." They shook hands leaf against. Glove.voh whispered, "Are you alone?" Rael nodded. "Always." Alia led him to the main display, showing the wreckage from the Korak ships. "You took them apart without firing a single bullet." "How?" Rael tapped the panel gently. "They rely on smart systems. Neural networks. The ships are almost alive, which means they have fears. Patterns. Weaknesses." He glanced at Alia. We studied that. Use sound and light data pulses to confuse their control centers, like showing a wild beast its own reflection. It panics. And the ship that boarded you? I let them in, Rail said simply. They never left, Elias. Leaves shifted with discomfort. You used their own minds against them? Exactly. Va stepped forward. But how?
How?
The human ship, your ship, moved like it wasn't part of space. Rail gave a faint smile. It's called Phantom Drive, developed by Earth scientists. It slips the ship just outside normal. Space for short bursts, hard to detect, impossible to follow. And why use it to protect us? Alia asked. You didn't know us? Rail looked out the window. His voice turned serious, because Earth remembers what it's like to be ignored. We were once small, weak. We know what it means to call for help and hear nothing back. He turned to her. I called, he answered. The bridge fell quiet. Then the sensor chief called out, Captain, new readings. Multiple signals entering the corridor. Alia rushed to the panel. Her heart dropped. Korak ships. 4 of them, heavily damaged, but heading this way. Rail stepped forward. They're testing us, seeing if we'll run. What do we do? Va asked. Rail didn't blink. We don't run. We stand. Alia stared at the screen. Her crew looked at her, waiting. She nodded. Ready all systems? Power shields. Bring up comes. She turned to Rail. Will you stay? Rail's eyes met hers. Not this time. But they'll see me. He walked back to the airlock and, just like before, the shadow knife disappeared into the void. The Korak ships entered the corridor moments later. Moving slowly, watching then, without warning, human music filled the stars again, this time louder, sharper, a battle rhythm. And behind the Viren fleet, the shadow knife appeared 20 times over. Alia stood up. What? Projections? The sensor chief said, stunned. He's using false signals. Dozens of them. The Korak won't know which one is real. The Korak ships paused. Then they turned around and left. Captain Alia closed her eyes. Relief flooded her chest. Commander Rail's voice echoed one last time across their system. Earth doesn't watch from a distance anymore. The message ended, but its meaning didn't. The galaxy had changed, and the Viren knew it. They were no longer alone. The days passed quietly after the second Korak retreat. Too quietly, Captain Alia didn't trust peace that came too fast. Her crew stayed alert, eyes always on the stars, ears tuned to every distant signal. The Viren had survived only because of one ship, one human, and that ship was gone again, but not forgotten. The crew of Hope Route had started to change. They moved faster now, spoke with more focus. They weren't soldiers, but they no longer thought like helpless travelers. They had seen what a single human could do, and it had lit something inside them. It's not fear, not hate. Something sharper, hope. Still, Alia couldn't rest. Not yet. She stood on the bridge, watching the stars as her sensor chief approached. Captain Alzi, he said quietly, there's something you need to hear. He handed her a data tablet. It was a message sent in a strange format. Human encryption. She pressed play. Rail's voice filled the room. If you're hearing this, it means I'm gone, but not lost. I'm deeper in the corridor now, chasing something I need to find. The Korak aren't just pirates. They're scouts. Something worse is coming behind them. Something bigger. I've left a copy of the Phantom Protocol with your systems. Train your people. Adapt it. Use it. You won't have much time. Ala, don't. Wait for help. Be the help. The message ended. Alia lowered the tablet slowly. He's gone deeper. Alone, the sensor chief said. Va stepped beside her. Why would he go alone? Alia shook her head. Because that's what hunters do when they're after something big. They sent scouts. Quiet ones. Brave ones. Like Rail, she turned to her crew. We need to act. We VA raised a brow. We're not warriors, no, Alia said. But we don't need to be. Just need to be smarter than them. Rail had shown them the way. She would follow it. In the next few hours, Alia called every Viren captain across their small fleet. Plans were made, roles assigned, equipment rewired. Their peaceful vessels began to look different, not like warships, but no longer helpless. Either the Phantom Protocol was installed in every system, modified, improved, the Viren adapted quickly. Aaliyah's ship became the nerve center, their strongest, their fastest, and their bait. Because she knew one thing for certain, the Korak would turn. They always did. And when they came back, she wouldn't run. The next day, they did return. Not for ships this time, 10. The lead ship was new, bigger, blacker. Like a floating knife, a voice crackled over the open channels. Deep. Cruel. This is Commander Rack of the Korak Blade Fleet. You destroyed our brothers. Don. You tampered with our systems. This time, there will be no warning. Iran. Ships stayed still, no response. Inside the Hope route, Alia stood tall. Her hands were calm, eyes steady. Activate signal field, she ordered. Around her ship, a net of pulses expanded, blinking slowly at first, then faster, invisible to most species. But not to the Korak. Their neural ships saw it and hated it. One Korak ship twisted in place, another backed away. Two more fired at nothing ghosts only they could see. It had begun. Release the echoes, Leia said. Across space, the Viren fleet released their copies, decoy signals, and fake drives. Ship now looked like 10. Pulse like 20.2. The Korak, it was chaos. They fired wildly, but they were shooting at shadows. Still. The lead ship pressed forward. This trick will not work again, Rack shouted. We've learned. We've adapted. Alia smiled. So have we. From her ship's lower decks, small drones launched, slow, harmless dash-looking, until they reached the Korak. Each drone carried a sound, pulse rails war music, tuned to a deeper frequency. Not just noise. A code. When the drones sang, the Korak ships screamed, their systems bent under pressure. One ship exploded from the inside, another drifted away. Blind, then, from behind the Viren formation, a ripple in space opened. The shadow. Knife returned. It had new scars. Black streaks across its side, but it was alive. A new voice filled the stars. Rail, I see you brought friends. He dove into the Korak fleet. Fast as lightning, no one could follow. He didn't need to be faster than light. He only needed to be smarter. And he was. The Viren ships joined the dance, sending drones, fakes, pulses. It was no longer just one. Human against a fleet. Now it was a team. Predators with a purpose. And the Korak, they were the prey. Asterisk, the battlefield was alive. Light flashed across the stars. Signals screamed. Drones weaved between giants. And in the center of it all, the shadow knife danced like a ghost in fire. The Korak fleet was confused again. But this time, it wasn't just human tricks. This time, the Viren were part of the storm. Captain Aaliyah's ship moved with purpose, sliding through the chaos. Every time the Korak locked on, she vanished behind a false echo. Every time they turned, they found another shadow, another song, another haunting trick from the Phantom Protocol. Rail's voice crackled through the comms. Nice work, Captain. You learned fast. Good teacher, Alia replied. Her tone was cool, but inside, her chest burned with purpose. Voss stood beside her, reading new signals. Two of their ships are retreating. The big one, Commander Rack's ship, it's not moving. It's waiting. Waiting for what? Alia asked. Usva said, eyes narrowing. It's letting the others fall. The Korak commander. Wasn't like the others. He was patient, smart, dangerous. He didn't charge. He watched. And as Alia looked at the data again, she understood. He's recording everything, she said. Learning our patterns. Figuring out how the phantom tricks work. Va nodded. He's not here to win. He's here to adapt. For next time. The thought chilled her. Rail came back on. Comes. We need to take him out before he escapes. We catch him? Alia asked. Not with speed, Rail answered. But with something else, Alia understood. She looked around her ship. We have one last signal packet. The full overload. If we get close, we can fry his systems. But it's one use only, Va said. And you have to be right next to him, I know, Alia said. That's why I'm going? The crew turned to her, shocked. I'm not asking, she added. This is what Rail taught us. To stop running. New drone was prepared. Carried the final song one that hadn't been tested. A mix of Earth's battle, music, environ, harmonic tones. A melody and a scream, woven together. It would burn through Korak systems like acid through glass as her ship moved forward. The rest of the Viren fleet pulled back. Rail's ship followed close, covering her sides, taking hits from retreating. Korak, we'll hold the rest off, he said. You go for the head. Alia didn't answer. She just pressed forward. Rack's warship filled her screen black, long, full of red scars. It didn't move. You think I don't see you coming? Rack's voice snarled through the channels. I'm counting on it, Alia replied. He laughed. You're not the human. You're weaker. No, she said. I'm different. And she launched the drone. It cut through space like a spark in the dark, straight toward Rack's ship. He fired, missed, fired again, hit. The drone was gone, blasted. Apart, no, Va gasped. It didn't reach him. But Alia smiled. It didn't need to. The real signal had been hiding in her ship's own systems. The drone was a decoy. The melody, the scream it, had already started playing the moment they locked. Onto Rack's ship, and it was growing louder. Inside the Korak flagship systems shook. Lights blinked out. Engines stuttered. Even Rack's voice began to glitch. What are you? Alia pressed one final command. The song peaked. Rack's ship roared and pain systems shorted. Metal groaned. Sparks burst from its engines. Then it began to drift. Now, Rail, shouted. The shadow knife moved in. One hit, not from missiles. From code. His own overload signal, a mirror to hers, together. Their signals met and Rack's ship finally died, not in flames, but in silence. Alia leaned back in her chair, breathing hard. The battle was over. Rail's voice came in soft. You didn't just survive, Captain. You fought back. Alia smiled. We're not prey anymore. All around them, the remaining Korak ships scattered. No more formation, no more order, just fear. Fear of what humans and Viren could do together. Rail's ship pulled beside hers. I'll be heading deeper soon, he said. I think there's more coming, bigger threats. You'll go alone again? She asked. No, he replied. Not next time. Lao looked at her crew, proud and strong. Then, we'll be ready, she said. She turned back to the stars and waited. The stars stretched far ahead, calm once again. Captain Alia didn't trust calm anymore. Not after what they'd seen, not after what they'd become. The Viren fleet drifted near a quiet moon, using the time to repair systems, clean holes, and rest. Their ships still looked peaceful, but now they carried strength hidden beneath soft curves and glowing petals. The Viren hadn't become warriors. They had become protectors. Inside the Hope Route, Alia stood at the viewing window. Below, the moon's gray surface reflected the light of a nearby sun. It reminded her of Vera, their lost home. But she didn't feel lost anymore. Rail appeared on the screen beside her. Earth's calling me back, he said. The High Council wants a report. They think the Korak will regroup. They will, Alia replied. But we'll be waiting. Rail smiled. I never thought I'd say this, but I'm glad I came out here. I thought I'd just scare off some pirates. I didn't expect to find allies. Alia's voice softened. You didn't just scare them. You changed the way they see us. You changed us too. You were ready, Rail said. You just needed a push. You needed a spark, she said. And you lit the fire. Across. The bridge VA monitored the sensors. He looked up. Captain, we're getting a signal. Not human, not Korak either. Did it through, Alia said. A gentle voice came through the speakers. Clicked and whistled in a musical tone. The translator activated. This is the Jalari Assembly. We saw what happened in the corridor. We saw how you stood. We want to speak with the ones who defied. The Korak Alaya's eyes widened. Reaching out, she said softly. Others are watching. Rael nodded. The galaxy is full of species like yours. Peaceful. Hunted. Alone. But not anymore. He leaned forward. You're the proof. The Viren stood with a human warship and sent a message. No more. Alia turned to her crew. Open a channel back to the Jalari. Tell them we'll listen. And we'll share what we've learned. She looked at Rael. This Alliance Earth environment's just the beginning, isn't it? It has to be, he said. Because the Korak weren't the worst thing out there. He paused. There are bigger shadows coming. Things even I don't understand yet. Alia didn't flinch. Then we'll face them. Together. Rael smiled again. Glad you're out here, Captain. Will we see you again? She asked. Oh, definitely, he said. You're part of the network now. Earth doesn't leave friends behind. His screen flickered as his ship prepared to jump. But next time, he added, you might be the one saving me. Shadow Knife vanished into the stars, leaving only a ripple behind. Alia watched it go. Va came to stand beside her. He's right. This was just the start. Then let's prepare for what's next, she said. Call a meeting. I want every ship connected. Every captain ready to teach their crew the Phantom Protocol. Va smiled. You sound like him. Maybe, Alia said. But I'm still me. And we're still Viren. She looked out the window at the stars. We don't hunt, but we don't hide anymore. The message from the Jalari was still playing. More ships were joining the channel. More peaceful races wanting to learn. Wanting to stand, Alia pressed the comes button. This is Captain Alia of the Viren. We are not warriors. We are not a fleet of conquerors. But we will no longer be silent. We are building something new. A line in the stars. And if anyone dares to cross it, we won't stand alone. The other ships answered with pulses of light. A new network was forming. Not an empire. Not a military. Promise. Somewhere far away, deep in dark space, a Korak scout received a report. The corridor had changed. It was no longer unguarded. It was marked, not with borders, but with courage. And in the stillness of that forgotten part of the galaxy, a human and a Viren had rewritten the rules of power. The hunted had turned. The prey had become the protector and the hunters. They would remember this place. They would fear it. Because here in this narrow stretch of stars, humanity stood. And beside them, so did the ones they saved.